You're hotter than me, and I'm burning up.
Oh, that's sweet.
Hey, everybody.
Are we live?
We're live.
What's up? All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Book Talk on Void Films. We're going to be playing Monster of the Week. This is what the book looks like. It's real rad. It's by Michael Sands. It's on the Powered by the Apocalypse system. But our games really focus on narrative and it's character-driven, so we've made up some rules, we've bent some of their rules, we've just kind of made the game what we feel is appropriate and enjoyable for the kind of experience we're looking to have and present for you. Also on Book Talk this week, I want to throw up a little love for Down Below Station by C.J. Cherry. In this really cool sci-fi book, there is a faction called The Company, which is also in our sci-fi experience. I thought about changing the name, but I'm not going to. I just like it too much. So in exchange, I just wanted to say, hey, support this author, buy this book, love their stuff, and also love our stuff, and let us get away with murder, okay? Thank you. I'm going to bring in the group now because Trin has a special message for us tonight before we get rolling, an important message.
Woo! Hey, guys. Hey, there we all are. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I just wanted to quickly let you know what we're doing for tonight's stream is that 100% of the money that you donate will go directly to Black Lives Matter. And because we have an amazing friend out in the world, those donations will be matched 3-1. So if you can do $20, it's actually $60. If you can do $50, it's actually $150, which is huge.
Well, it would be $200, right? Because they chip in 150 on top of your 50. Yes. I'm not trying to math correct. I'm just getting more excited about more money. I realize that came across a little actually.
Hey, those are my lines.
So if you were planning on donating to us, please still do. We're just going to put that money towards a cause that is very important to us and also one that we support. And it's not going to be as much as we could be doing, but it's one of our first steps to do a little bit more. Okay. Is there anything else admin-wise that we need to do before we get rolling?
Yes.
Well, are we all going to have a... Sorry, Drew.
I was just going to say, if at any point it looks like I am melting, that you do not need to adjust your settings. It is 90 degrees in this apartment.
All right.
So it will just be sweat.
Actually, that calculation of 90 degrees is based on some pretty outdated instrumentation. I think the reality would be 92.6 degrees.
Oh boy, tonight's gonna be great.
No, Tag is a sweet guy. He's less of an asshole than I am. Once I start playing the character, it'll be a lot more reasonable to be with me.
Any other announcements, y'all?
No, I just can't wait to talk about books for the next 3 hours.
Yeah, book time.
We're all lined up. Hope we've all been...
I think that we're going to try to do our second version of what I'd like to be our recap, to go through the group quickly and just talk about a moment or two that really jumped out for your characters and maybe some new information that we learned, something that you're either hoping for or excited about. Just a little brief snippet, and we're going to start with... starting from now on, also when we play, just so I stop making things confusing, I'm only going to refer to you as character names from here on. Okay? Tag.
Hot dog. So, we learned a couple things about the frequency and sort of common use of magic in this world and in this party. We saw Bryn the Summoner reconstruct an object made of water, which blew a lot of our minds. We also saw another member of the party suck the life essence from a living creature, which was not only something that we didn't think was possible, but didn't think was
ethical.
Ethical, yeah. Well, I would say it raised. I don't know that the party. I don't want to speak to anyone's character's secret thoughts, but it doesn't seem like the party has come to a vocal consensus about how we feel about that. I will say it certainly raised some eyebrows. and as well as raised some goosebumps.
All right. Bryn?
I think, as far as Bryn's concerned, she's really able to do things on her own, and she can take care of herself, and she wants to jump into anything, and her almost drowning kind of popped that bubble a little bit, and having to get, helped out by the doctor, was just very, very humbling. And then to turn around and see him extracting the magic kind of ruins the illusion of this being this adventurous from a book sort of thing that's going on, and the reality of the danger that's surrounding this mission slowly is starting to set in.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah, that's it.
Rex.
So Rex has met the hottest woman that she's ever seen, Tara, because she's been introduced with both of those names, so I'm not sure that we have a definitive ruling on her name yet.
I'll lean into Tara, but I will inevitably forget.
Great. I love it. I think there were a few tiffs between Bryn and Rex, especially when Bryn decided to go spirit soaring off of a cliff. I handily dispatched a few monsters from the deep, and I feel pretty good about that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, Professor.
Well, there apparently was a thing that not everybody in the party was really keen on witnessing for the first time. The professor did this whole distill magic thing out of that nightmare tick kind of creature. Regardless of how everyone feels about it, the thing that happened, and obviously we're probably going to deal with that, is that normally there's some sort of effect like an Erix gets crystallized, but this was something called an anti-Erix. And when it was on the ground near the grass, every living thing, every blade of grass was quickly dying around it. So the professor kind of scooped it up and put it in a container, and he's going to be studying it later, I assume, when he gets into a not a shop, but into a lab. Another thing that was interesting that happened, I'm not sure exactly if anyone spoke to yet, was there was an interesting exchange on the cliff between Tag and Bryn, and forgive me if that's already been mentioned, but that was really interesting because we got to kind of see, or perhaps get a better idea of this malevolent kind of influence that is sort of cloaking the planet, whether visible or invisible or otherwise. And
an exciting update to the stream is that I think the camera is stuck on Trin. So Trin, you should just sort of pantomime the mouth for everything. What's the word? To be our ventriloquist.
Excellent.
It works a little bit better when people are talking. Oh, there I am. Look at that. Excellent.
Okay.
So anyway, we all went to not Haven, like I was mispronouncing it before, or misnaming it. We were on our way to Homestead, which is apparently the only human dwelling on this planet called the Preserve.
Mm-hmm. One of just a couple.
Okay.
These types of colonies are scattered about, and they're usually next to one of the company's facilities or some kind of resource. All right.
Let me, Jesse, if you don't mind, take this
Please,
opportunity because I'm real excited about this scam we're running where we're printing money 3-to-1. It looks like we've had a bunch of tips come in that have not done the little voice for us, that we've not been able to hear that voice. So I do want to see if I can scroll back through the chat and shout those out.
Please do.
Yes.
Holler at me, somebody, if I missed you. But I think that Thing Utes or Thing UTS
I believe that's
tipped
Gordon.
us $25. That $25 turned into $100. I don't immediately see a message there. Aaron Morrison, $50 turns into $200 as if by magic. I believe Aaron Morrison says, "Love you all, missed you all." Right
Aw.
back at you, Aaron Morrison.
Yay.
And then Thea? Is that Thea or Roger? Oh, I don't know if I was supposed to say something. I don't know how to do the internet. They tipped 10, which turned into 40. The message is applesauce dance. Looks like we're going to have to do one of those tonight. Maybe
I
that's
think it looks something like this.
An applesauce dance? That looks like
Eric
jazz dance.
coming in with $10, turning into 40. Salagin. Man, everybody, 10 into 40. We are printing money tonight
For Black Lives Matter.
And
I will
I'm
also
going to
throw
thanks
in that
for-
we have some donations that are coming in through that are going directly through Venmo instead of just through Twitch, and we have already raised $200, which now turns into what, $800?
I don't want to embarrass myself.
Holy
Yeah.
moly.
Wow. Holy smokes.
Excellent.
Yeah. So
You
Thank
thought
you
you
very
were
much.
only going to see magic in outer space. We've just seen magic here tonight.
We haven't even started the actual game yet. We're 15 minutes in. Thank you so much, everyone. Wow.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, we're going to drop into fiction now.
All right.
You've just left a clearing in which some things happened. Namely, you discovered a nest in the roots of a tree. A nightmare tick, which took notice of Bryn casting magic. Tag dispatched it on accident by trying to restrain it with some magic of his own. And then the life force was then removed from it by the professor. After a brief discussion, we'll call it, you left the clearing and followed Tara out of the bush, and you came to a road. And to your right, you see the colony of Homestead for the first time up close. Homestead is a colony town. Those of you who have traveled the Continuum system know them well. Homestead was originally a local settlement. When the company moved in, they provided what resources they could to modernize the town just enough to accommodate their employees. Some of the buildings look old and lived in, constructed of materials found nearby. These are the remnants of the original town. Among these old wooden buildings are a saloon, a general store, a quaint cottage just outside of town, and a cluster of small homes. There are also plasteel structures which the company has imported. You see a bank, an apartment complex, and a circular structure covered in satellite dishes and monitoring equipment. Tara points some of these things out to you and explains the basic history that you just learned here, and then said, if you'll excuse me, I do need to return to my house. I've been out of town for almost a day and a half. But if you'd like to stop by before you leave, please do.
Which one's yours?
I live in the cottage there in the back northwestern corner of town.
Oh,
okay,
all right.
okay, but all of us should just come by, or just so like all of us should stop by.
Yes. What exactly are you asking?
Cool. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. We'll all come by. That's cool. Yeah. Great.
Awesome.
I'd like that very much. She gives you a little knowing look, laughs, and then says, the first buildings right there that you'll see are the saloon and the bank. The bank's been closed. I'm just going to cut through town, but please come see me. And she takes off through town.
I turn to the group after a pause and I say, were we talking in code at the end?
I was wondering that as well. It was clear to me we were all invited. I don't...
Yeah, but Rex.
Yeah.
What did you mean?
I just wanted to make sure that she wanted all of us there, or like maybe You know how sometimes you're like, hey, it would be great if we could all hang out again. But really in your head, you're just like, I only want to hang out with 2 of these 4 people, you know?
Oh my
so,
God.
Small cottage. Like, we could all maybe crowd it a little bit. So,
Yeah,
make
yes.
sure that we're not crowding it.
Yes, small cottage, maybe not enough room for everybody.
Exactly. No big deal. Let's go hit the saloon.
Yeah, I would like a drink.
Ooh, they have drinks there?
Generally, I don't know about
At a
here.
saloon?
Is saloon also a code? I just feel like there's a lot of things going over my head right now.
Well, it could be because you're pretty short. Hey! I'm sorry. When I feel embarrassed, I make fun of people.
It's okay. Let's head off to the saloon.
Okay. As you approach, the town seems awfully quiet. There are a few people that you see walking around. The town square is just past the saloon. You can see a well in the middle of it. And there's just a couple people moving to and from, but it's pretty quiet. It is later in the afternoon. It's taken you the majority of the day to get here.
What time was I supposed to see Lemporium?
You fucker.
The Lamporium Emporium.
It rhymed Emporium.
Off.
It
All
started
lamp
with
you
an L.
want.
Lemporium.
I got it.
I-
Lingorium.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I remember his name. I'm just trying to figure out what time you're supposed to meet him. I'm sure that I said it.
Never once. Every time it's something different. I love it.
Is CNAC 88 is still with us, right? That's a thing?
Yeah. It's not my fault that you guys are ignoring him and really rude.
I'm going to hang back because, like, somehow the professor thinks that Rex might have been talking about him and, like, not wanting to be with him. So he's just going to slowly go back and hang out with CNAC 88.
Also think that
Mike again?
the code was that they did not want me to come too. So the professor and I are hanging out with the robot, and I look at the professor and I say, so when she said just the 2 of us, you think it meant that we were not supposed to go to the, it's like a girl's cabin.
It's whenever this kind of thing happens, I just assume they don't mean me, and I just kind of move on and I try not to think about it and let it hurt my feelings too much.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Holy shit! See that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Have you just?
I've been here the whole time, standing within 6 feet of you for literally the last 9 hours.
Yeah. Yes. You see. Yeah. Sorry.
Is there like some sort of, I don't know, like, I mean, I don't want to give him a human beverage because that obviously wouldn't make any sense to give to a robot. But, like, is there like an equivalent to, like, you know, like, oh yeah, thanks for the oil, and then like he loosens up his joints or something? Is there like a thing like that?
There is. There's a little. You can tell that they can eat and drink, and then just for appearance's sake, and then dispose of it later.
Oh, okay, like an android. All right. Well, I offer him something in my pack.
He takes it and he says, "Thank you."
Sorry, I was ignoring you, buddy.
That's okay. You'd think that because I'm a robot, my programming would inhibit me from feeling embarrassed or neglected. But it doesn't.
That's one step closer to being human.
You're
Saloon?
The meeting time was not specified. It was just assumed that because the company was taking you, the schedule would be upheld by them. So they never said you're supposed to meet this person now. You just assumed you were on your way to see him immediately.
Great. We have time for a pit stop. Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah, saloon. It's a little old westy, you know, a little Firefly-ish. When you walk through the cool double doors that slap open on Rex's really sweet entrance.
I kicked the door in.
It's empty except for just a few people seated in the corner. They look up when you arrive, then hastily down at their drinks, avoiding further eye contact. A woman tends the bar, wiping it down with a filthy rag. She doesn't look like the type who'd have a problem throwing a drunk out on their ear. New in town, huh? What can I get you?
I have no idea what to order.
I'll have a Snarmanian Gargle Blacks.
You got it. She gives you this look. She's got everything she needs to make this drink, but the fact that you just ordered it offends her. It's not spoken, but it is you're aware of it. But she starts shaking the drink, pouring a couple of these dark liqueurs and then a little bit of it's like a homemade, you could think it's probably distilled in back. It's just a clear bottle with a piece of tape over it that says, "Do not drink." She puts that in it too, and then shakes it up. There's ice underneath the counter, but it's all very melted. It's like this bucket that's mostly water, and she's just scooping it out with her hand, putting it into the shaker that has some rust spots on it, and just shaking it. But when she pours the drink and slides it down the bar to you, it's the best that you've ever had. Very strong. She didn't skimp.
This is delicious. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah.
Excuse me. Do you happen to have chocolate of any kind? Maybe perhaps a hot chocolate?
I think that I have a couple space candy bars underneath the bar here that I could melt down. It's going to cost the extra. All right. She starts just breaking up some chocolate, tossing it into a little cast iron skillet, and then throws it onto a little stove in back.
Oh. Okay. Very interested in what she's doing.
What are you doing in town? You don't look familiar.
I'm actually here to meet with Langorium. Did I get it?
Her face drops a little bit at the mention of Langorium, and she lifts up Rex's drink and slides a napkin under it, and goes over and stirs the chocolate and adds. She pulls a frothy kind of metal pitcher out of the fridge that you can tell is probably milk that is fresh, and adds it to the chocolate and starts whipping it up. And she says, "Langorium, you're here to see Summoner Langorium?"
Yes.
Wow. That's very impressive.
Do you know him?
No, I've never even seen him, but he's the leader of the planet. I know of him.
Do you
This
know
colony's here because he's seen fit to ensure that our relations with the company protect us, and we still have places to stay. I'm grateful for everything that he's done for us, but I've never met him.
Ma'am, what is your name?
Turner.
Hi there, Turner. My name's Dr. Baxter. I just wanted to ask, is there, as you mentioned and you called out before, we were kind of new to the planet. It's pretty obvious looking at us. With each planet, I'm told that there are kind of different sort of niceties, different things to kind of do for each other when you meet for the first time, on levels of respect and whatnot. Is there anything that we could do to Summoner Langorium that would, maybe be respectful? Or, like in my planet, it's a handshake, for instance.
Sure. I've seen people bring fresh baked bread and offer it. I've also seen people, I've heard that they kneel.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
You guys work for the company, yeah?
I don't know if that is a thing. Hot chocolate, how's that coming?
Wait,
She pours it
Doctor,
into a glass.
You do work for the. Sorry, I didn't. Is everyone been familiarized with a code that I don't know? You work for the company.
Look, I know. All right, yes, I work for the company. I just didn't know if that is something that you should just, holler out to everyone.
Sure. Why wouldn't it be the company? Why wouldn't it be?
You got me. I don't know. Yes, Turner, Miss Turner, Mrs. Turner, Miss Turner. Doesn't matter.
Yes.
Hello, Turner.
Yes.
Yes, I personally work for the company, and my colleagues as well have. They work for the company as well. Sorry.
Yeah. Are y'all here to fix the, to look into the power?
What's going on with the power?
It's been all over the place. It keeps flipping off ever since that rumble happened. we can't keep the power on for more than an hour or two at a time.
The rumble, is that, are you referring to the large beam that was coming out of Homestead just, about a day or so ago?
It would have been early this morning.
Sorry, yes, you're right.
I feel early this morning. I didn't see a beam, but I've been inside all day. Business is slow, but we got a couple customers coming through.
And the power was fine prior to that?
Yeah, it's been a little weird around here lately, but the power wasn't an issue until this morning. We got it now, but at any second it could go off.
Have you noticed anything strange besides the power going out?
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, I can tell you 3 days ago, the shift changed happened on our end, but nobody's been back to town since, so all those people that were going to work at the Elder Seed facility, they haven't come back, so we're just about half capacity here in town. That's why business has been so slow. Not to mention those things that showed up a couple days ago. Those creatures. I'd be careful if I were you.
The creatures you're referring to, did they have kind of like, I don't know, like, did they seem somehow oily or slimy or covered in tar or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. They kind of seemed to be leaking, but we chased them off. Now, you work for the company. I just assumed that you'd be going to fix this. This is what you're supposed to do, you know?
Oh, yeah, no, madam, absolutely. That's one of the reasons why we're here. Just one of several. There's things we're going to look into.
Good.
And
I pay my taxes. I pay my taxes. We all pay our taxes. We give a lot.
yeah, Summoner Lingorium hasn't addressed any of this?
Well, these seem to be company issues.
But it's his planet. He should be looking into it if something's going on.
I heard he was at the facility. I just assumed he was taking care of it. I assumed he would have... You're part of his solution. Is that not the case?
Well, I mean, it is something that is relatively new, and of course, as I'm sure you're aware, space travel can take some time. And we our arrival just happened to kind of coincide with some of the problems that you're having. So like I said, we're kind of like expanding our portfolio of the things that we're going to look into you and your lovely homestead, and things that we're going to discuss with the summoner.
Good, yeah, thanks for hearing me out. I got a little worked up. It's just been kind of spooky around here lately. You understand.
Absolutely.
She pours the hot chocolate into a cup and gets this little... It looks like a little injector gun, like a very small aluminum shiny thing. She holds it over the top and whipped cream comes out of the end of it. And she slides the hot cocoa over to the professor. She says, if y'all are going in there to see this Summoner Langurium, if you're headed that way, these drinks are on the house. Now, I appreciate what y'all doing, and thanks for hearing me out. I just hope we can get these things fixed.
Yeah, we do as well. I slide the hot cocoa over to Tag, and give him kind of a knowing nod and a wink, and then stroll over back to the robot.
And then I look down at the hot chocolate, and I'm confused, but having had so many occasions so far in the last half hour where I felt like I was behind something, I act like I totally know what that wink was about. And I hold the hot chocolate, but without really committing anything to it. So I hold it in a way that suggests I could drink this, but I don't actually take a sip because I don't know if that's what he wanted me to do or if I'm just holding his hot chocolate.
And I kind of notice this happening out of the corner of my eye, and I just go, psst. And with my own drink, I mime drinking it.
Oh, I say, I understand. And I wink at Rex just like the professor winked at me, and I slide her the hot chocolate.
Turner's watching, kind of bemused.
And I take the hot chocolate, and I say, no, idiot. You drink hot chocolate.
I know. And I grab it, and I quickly take a gulp, and it's way too hot, and I say...
Slowly!
No, I know. I know. Yeah. Wink.
All right, Turner doesn't really do too much else. She just kind of, she's kind of going off of your cue for small talk. She feels, it seems like maybe she looks a little bashful, but you guys finish your drinks. Do you want to hang out at the saloon, or you want to keep trekking?
I think separately from the group, without making a big deal of it, I think Tag is just going to excuse himself silently and just walk right outside. Not go far away, just take up a position right near the door. I think he's having a bit of an introspective moment, and whether or not the group noticed that something was up when he walked out, he certainly tried to not make a big deal of his exit.
I order another Snarmamian gargle blast, and I say, "This is delicious. I'll take another."
This time, pleased that you enjoyed the drink as much as you should have. She enjoys making this fancy cocktail for you. While you're standing outside, Tag, gathering yourself, there's just a dirt, kind of rutted road that goes through town, and you're on one side of it, and across the street is the bank that Tara mentioned. It does look closed, and there are no lights on inside. But while you're just kind of standing there, letting your eyes unfocus, you do see the blinds move a little bit on one of the windows. And then a couple seconds later in a different window, you definitely see movement inside. What would you like to do?
I think I'll head in that direction. Not with the explicit purpose of investigating stuff, but just kind of I'll let my thoughts take me on a bit of a stroll, and that's the closest building, and I'll just sort of look around, maybe, try the handle, take a peek through the windows.
Sure. Roll investigate a mystery.
That's
plus sharp.
Sharp. 7.
Okay, you get to hold
by
one question.
Okay, let me consult. I would like to ask. I'd like to ask what happened here.
Okay. The bank is a modern addition to town. It does look like it's been constructed in the style of the local Homestead buildings rather than the imported company module buildings. But it does look new, and it does look like it was, a bit more money was put into it. The front door, when you try and jiggle the handle, is locked, but you can see someone inside. They're bustling about and cramming papers into a briefcase. They look to be in a hurry.
Do they see me?
No.
Okay. Can I keep walking the perimeter of the building to see if there's a better window?
Sure. You go around. The windows are a bit high, but when you do get to the back door looks like it's been propped open very discreetly with a small, bank teller's notebook.
Okay. I will let myself in, and at this point, that seems pretty unconventional, being propped open. So I won't immediately say hello. I'm not necessarily trying to sneak. I certainly don't presume to catch anyone doing anything, but I'm kind of a little trepidatious now in a way that I wasn't before. My interest has been piqued by all of these extra steps of secrecy.
What do you do about the door?
I'll keep it propped. I'll put the book right back there where I found it.
Okay, you've entered the bank from an employee's entrance, so you're actually behind a caged counter. The door leading into the main bank is closed, and you are where the tellers would be. There's a big vault in there as well. While the building itself looks handmade and it's made out of wood paneling and very ornate and beautiful, the vault looks like something you would see on a company starship. It is 100% top of the line, high tech.
Okay.
You can see through the teller cage that there is a person. They are behind a partition where you would see maybe the bankers themselves do their business that's a bit more private, and they are clearing out some papers and folders and files from a desk drawer. They're leaning over it. It's a shorter person, so they're on tiptoes leaning over. It's a fellow. He's a bit older than you, quite a bit, probably by a decade or so. And, you know, it seems to be somebody who's trying to be quiet, and they're in a hurry cleaning out this desk. What would you like to do?
Knock, knock. Sorry.
Ah!
Hey, sorry.
Papers fly in the air. Whoa! And they startle back. They're reaching in their belt, and they don't find anything, so they reach onto the desk, and they brandish a letter opener, and they say, the vault's closed. The vault's closed. The vault's closed.
That's fine. I'm so sorry to have startled you. I'm new to town. I just wandered in. I wasn't trying to give you a scare. Can I help you pick up some of these papers? And I start to bend down and shuffle them together.
No, don't touch. Please do not touch that. Please, give me some room. Give me some space.
Okay.
You've caught me unawares, sir.
I know. That's what I tried to say. Knock, knock by way, because I didn't want to scare you in a worse way. So it was my best attempt at.
You are intruding, sir. You do know that, right?
I suppose when you frame it like that, yes, I believe that I am. Is this? You work here?
Am I to take that this is some kind of robbery?
No, not at all. I think that everything I've said has been designed to lead you to believe that I am not trying to threaten or rob you in any way.
It does feel designed to lead me to believe that. However, you are standing in the employees area of this bank while it's closed.
I can go around. I don't need. It was just a case of my curiosity getting the better of myself. I really have no great intention for this. I suppose I could go. Is everything okay?
Look, while I will... This is a very strange situation, and I seem to not be able to find my social footing in this moment. I will give you that you do not seem as though you intend to harm me or steal anything from this establishment.
I do not. I do not.
He lowers the letter opener, puts it into his belt like it's some kind of dagger, and then bends over and starts picking up his papers. And he says, I would love to handle this more officially, I assure you, but unfortunately I am in quite a bit of a hurry. And he's just scooping up his papers and trying to put them into his briefcase.
And he's kind of seems done with me. This is the end of the conversation for him.
He's not putting his back to you, and he's not letting his guard down, but he's just trying to, as best as he can, gather his things.
Sure.
He's not dismissed you.
Sir, why is the bank closed? It seems to be. Is it after hours? We're in the day still, are we not?
Yes, we are, but it's with the power fluctuations, and one of my tellers went missing. I just decided to close for the day, probably the rest of the week.
I'm sorry. Did you say that one of your tellers went missing?
Yes.
Are you not concerned about their safety? Is this
exceptionally concerned, sir? Who are you?
My name's Tag.
Tag?
Yeah.
Packs a punch. Encapsulates your being, does it not? Who are you, sir?
Like I said, my name is Tag. I was just going to sort of be step one of a multi-part introduction. Step two was going to be to just reaffirm that I don't want to harm or rob you. That's not really part of who I am. I guess it is sort of who I am when you think about the grand scheme of what do I want in life. In this case, what do I not want? To harm you or rob from you. I don't want either of those things. Did I say that my name was Tag?
Listen, you. It's obvious that you're from somewhere else. This town has been not itself.
And as he makes those eyes, I also roll my eyes around from side to side as if to play along and see what he's seeing.
Strange things have been going on in this town, and I mean to get away. If the facility has gone dark, then and we are aligned with it. There's no reason for this bank to stay open. I think it would be best for me to leave.
Well, I hope the facility hasn't gone dark. We're trying to tour there as early as this evening or tomorrow.
Oh, yes. I hope that the facility has not gone dark either. I would perhaps look at your schedule book and see if you can't find another use for the time that you were perhaps going to tour it.
Look, I don't want to take out on you what I've been through. It seems like you've had a long and stressful day, and I haven't, and what's happened to me, I don't want to unload it on you, but it's one straw too many, and I feel like all day people have been saying things that mean another thing, and people have been winking in a way that I have not learned the meaning of, and now too, it sounds like what you are saying means something other than what you mean to be saying.
Listen, you.
Somehow that really is an affront to him. He really takes a step back in a way that he hasn't before.
Will you just tell me who it is you represent?
The company. Well,
okay. Are you here to fix a variety of things? Surely you know more than you're letting on. I'm okay. I'm in the know. You can tell me.
I don't think that we are. So, gosh, I'm here with a summoner, Bryn, and she's going to meet Langurium.
Good God.
Just as kind of a hello, a meet and greet, a kind of wine and dine. I suspect I've never had wine before, but that's the idea of the thing, and it seems like the Homestead is experiencing some problems. I think we would love to try our hand at helping, but we didn't know about any of this stuff when we got here. It sounds like
you just arrived in town.
Just earlier today, yes.
You've had no communication with the facility?
We talked to Dr. Veach Foster.
Oh, ugh. That's not the facility. She just works in that building over there. That cluttered, disgusted. Ugh. Veach Foster. She has no regards for decorum or any ties to the company. Good riddance.
I think we're live.
Hey!
Hey everybody, welcome back. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We're gonna just try and jump right back into the story. I believe
But
we left
first,
off.
maybe we recognize that we got a donation in.
Please do.
I don't know who it was. I don't have that stream up. I just know that it happened.
There was at least one $10 donation, which with the 3-2-1 price matching, that'll be let's see, $40.
$40
To Black Lives Matter. That's excellent.
I think it was Mayo M is the name of the person.
Well,
So
I'm doing a dance for them. So thank you.
I am probably not the TechSmart one, but are we in fact live? I keep seeing the hosted thing when I refresh the Zoe Twitch page.
All right.
So we're not live?
Okay.
Thank you for asking that. Otherwise, we would have been just continuing on.
Okay, yeah. And so who did donate to us? Somebody?
Mayo M. It was MAYOM.
Okay. Yeah, I think we should give a shout out to them.
All right.
Did we pop on live for a second and go out, or we never went back on?
For me, it looked like we never went back on, but I don't know.
Gordon D. Duke says it's always worth the wait.
Very sweet.
He is an incredibly nice fellow.
Very
Oh,
sweet
we're on.
man. Hooray!
All right. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We're going to jump right back into it in 1 second. But first, we got a quick announcement from Trin.
Thank you to Mayo M. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, but thank you so much for your donation. Your $10 is now pew 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 $40.
Pew 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 pew.
And if we're
Okay.
missing anybody who did donate, please throw something in the chat because we want to be able to do these pew pew pews all night long.
I love a good $10 donation. I'm a $10 donation kind of guy. So especially when, I believe, what is it? Grand larceny? How are we turning this into more money?
Let's not do the prosecutor's works for them, okay?
Right. Is it money laundering?
All right, we're going to jump right back in. I believe after we've asked our very helpful, very lovely chat that we left off right when the bank person asked this. So, you haven't been in contact with the facility since landing.
It wasn't so much of a landing, really. We crashed.
Oh, good lord. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you for asking.
How many of you are there?
There's me, there's Bryn, there's Rex, and the doctor. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot CNAC 88, which would have been very embarrassing because we've been forgetting about him literally all day.
I could see how that would be troubling, despite the fact that I don't really have context for the comment. Listen, I'm going to tell you something, but you must keep the information secret. The people of
Can I tell the other?
Yes, company employees should know, especially if you're here to help with these problems. But
I don't know that we are. Just what?
the people of Homestead are not entitled to this information, okay? It would cause a panic.
I understand.
The facility has gone dark. We are a financial institution that has been started by the company. We're more of a credit union for the employees here, so I have a direct line to them. Before they went dark, I received a phone call saying that things were going bad at the facility. I was told to get important information out and to meet them at the emergency shuttle landing that's in the forest. I have a contact there. I don't know how many people were planning to leave, but it sounded like those who were available were going to.
Everyone that works for the company is leaving?
They made it sound like it wasn't going to be everyone.
Is this related to... I know that people haven't come back from their shift. Is this a part of that? It's because they've gotten a communique that's asking them to leave planet?
Yes. Well, I don't know if that's why they haven't returned, but I would assume it has something to do with the same situation. And the power fluctuations, that must be whatever's going on at the facility. Our power is tied directly to the generator that supplies theirs.
Well, what does the message say? Are people in trouble? I know that this would cause a panic, but if people's lives are in danger, they should know.
I can tell you this. What I received was not an official communication. It was from a liaison of mine that happens to work at the facility. It was a personal call.
I have to go. I made a promise not to share this information, but if I find out that there is good that I can do by keeping people safe, I will do that, and I will break that promise.
This meeting never happened, so whatever you tell people and however you found that information out, so be it. I ask that we leave through the back door.
Sure. Just one more thing. And I turn my back, and I pull up my shirt, and I turn around, and I say, "This is a stick-up!"
Good Lord!
I'm just kidding. Robbing you, and I thought by now we had established trust, and you...
He takes one step forward, putting him in intimate range of you, and strikes you in the face. It is a very gentle feeling. There's not much oomph behind it, but it is a definite slap across the cheek.
Wow, it puts me in my place just as much as the... What did he say before? Like, sir. Whatever admonishment he delivered.
I do not think that was in very good taste. Do you?
No. Well, no, not after being slapped, certainly.
We need to leave now. And he crosses to the back door, ushering you through. He's got a briefcase that's just crammed full of papers. And, he says, I have a few things that I must wrap up in here, but if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. I'm going to... Does anything catch my eye on these papers, maybe any information that he's left out that might help me understand what's happening here?
Roll investigate a mystery. Plus sharp.
In this case, it's minus sharp, but okay.
Really?
Yeah, my sharp is -1, which turns this into an 8.
Okay. You may ask one question.
What is being concealed here?
As he's ushering you out and you are crossing to the back door, you do see that many of the papers have not been able to be properly put into the briefcase, and they are kind of lowing out. One of them falls to the floor, and before he can reach for it, you pick it up and hand it to him. And when you do, you see that it's financial information that's been photocopied and perhaps like whatever the Void Jumper's equivalent is of faxing. And there's a huge section of the budget. You know, like you can see housing, facilities, maintenance, materials. You can see a list of all this stuff, and next to it are these figures. And then on this spreadsheet towards the bottom, that says research and development. There's a couple things that look kind of like science-y to you, and then 4 or 5 items that have big black marks, as though the information has been redacted from the budget.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And there's a company letterhead at the top of the paper, and it says, Elder Seed Facility, the Preserve. You can tell that it's from this place, from that facility, and it is an official document.
So as I hand it back to him and he reaches to grab it, I, not in a menacing way, but I just keep my hand on it and we lock eyes and I say, why would they need to redact research and development?
You work for the company, do you not?
I do.
There are things that... if it answers your question, I have no idea. But I can guess that there would be things that they might be developing on a planet far away from their headquarters, which they might not want anyone to find out about. If that's news to you, I'd say that you have a lot to learn about working for this institution.
And I don't directly acknowledge that, but I take my hand off the piece of paper and I take a step backwards and I do kind of, for one of the first times, take an assessment of my naivete, and I'm able to recognize it and recognize my level of education, street smarts for what it is, and I gain a little bit of self-awareness that comes with not a sense of shame, but just sort of realizing that I do have a lot to learn.
Sure. For your next roll of investigating a mystery in regards to the company or its intentions, take a +1.
Cool.
Okay. You're ushered out the back door. We cut back to the saloon. You guys are finishing up your drinks. Would you like to hang out here, or do you want to mosey on?
I think I should probably get outside. These were very strong,
She didn't skimp on the booze.
and I was a little dehydrated, so I'm gonna get some fresh air for sure.
Okay. You guys head out on... Yeah, Professor?
Oh, the professor was while we were away. I actually have given Bryn some tea, and so we're both having tea together. If she would, like to join me at all. But I just noticed that she hadn't had a drink yet. But I'm ready to move on.
Did you guys want to have a moment?
Sure.
Sure.
Go for it.
So, yes, I just want to apologize before because I feel like I was speaking out of turn. I know this is your show, and I just sometimes, when people ask me questions, I really want to answer them. So I realize that that's not necessarily my place, and so I just wanted to say I'll defer to you in the future.
It's okay. I know as little about this planet as anybody else, so if we have questions, just go ahead and ask.
Oh.
Also,
great.
Thank you for the tea.
Yeah.
Never actually drank alcohol, so I don't think now is a good time for me to start, so I'll stick with tea.
I'm with you. Yeah.
As I think I do come running, not running, but sort of quickly moving around the corner across the street, and I see Rex and the other two are still inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I say, Rex, where are the others?
They're inside.
Are you okay?
Yeah, they were very, very strong drinks. I'll be fine.
Okay.
I'll be fine.
Rex, you're actually going to have a -1 to any act under pressure rolls you take until you sober up.
Oddly enough, a +1 to kick some ass, though.
So I would like to move into the saloon and say to the doctor and Bryn, "Hi, I'm sorry to pull you away. I had a strange encounter just now. I think there might be a bit more urgency to the situation than we've been giving it."
Okay, I turn to the bartender and I place some coin as a tip. A lot of coin.
Oh, she nods and leaves it on the table, but you could see the eyes widen considerably. It's probably more than she's seen all week.
I hope this makes up for your lost business. I'm really sorry. We're going to look into it.
Thank you.
Thanks for the drinks.
Of course.
And I incline my head to the outside of the saloon.
I go follow Tag.
When we get outside, I say, "So I didn't mean to intrude. I wasn't trying to rob anyone. I walked into the bank. There was someone in there who works for the company, and I tell them what I just learned, namely that there is this sort of word being put out that there's evacuation, may be too strong of a word, but kind of an informal evacuation that might be in progress, that the power outages, the fallout from what we imagine is that explosion this morning might be more deep-rooted, and there might be some serious consequences, and things are happening that maybe deserve our attention."
Do you think it's weird that we were sent here on seemingly a peaceful mission and suddenly all this stuff is happening? The timing is really odd.
Yeah, what area did you say that was redacted? You said the Elder Seed R&D?
Research and development, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you all have been my party for quite a few hours now, and I feel very comfortable with you, and especially after that thing back there, I would like to be as open with you as possible. And I kind of look around to make sure that there's no one else listening, and I actually kind of also tell everyone to follow me into the kind of the alley and make sure there's no one listening in there.
I follow
Nobody's listening,
and then I say, "Oh, shoot!" and I run back into the saloon and I go, "CNAC, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Come here, we're having a meeting in the alley."
Sure, if you think it's appropriate for me to join.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say you're a part of this group when it would be disingenuous, because obviously our behavior has not indicated that is the case, but I do want to be better about that.
Sure. Look, my mission objective was to come to Homestead and deliver some supplies. I have been unable to do that because of the crash. I will simply be waiting for the company to come and retrieve me and take me back to Haven. If you'd like that we split paths here.
No, I don't want to split paths, but if you want to split paths.
I'm trying to give you an easy out. From your body language and your actions over the last couple hours, I feel as though perhaps it would be better for everyone if I just handed you an opportunity to officially dismiss me.
No, gosh, I do. When you say it like that, I just feel awful, because you're right. We have not given you any reason to believe that we even remember that you exist, much less value your contribution to this group. Why don't you just come out for the meeting at least, and we can decide there as a group.
You got it, buddy.
Okay, thanks. Sorry again, man. Sorry.
That's all right.
He tries to give him a little pat on the back, but I don't know that it translates.
He joins you outside. When you're crossing, you do see that banker leaving through the back and heading towards what looks like a smaller path that leads out into the jungle.
CNAC! 88! You're there!
It's me.
Yes. Excellent. Wonderful to see you again, buddy.
Yes, you as well, Professor.
So everyone kind of come a little bit closer. Okay. So like I said, in the vein of just transparency and honesty among my fellow party members, I want to let you know something that I was told before we came here about what I'm supposed to be actually doing, other than just being, a member of this party. I've been told by my higher ups, the brass in the company, that I'm supposed to go into the research and development area in the Elder Seed facility and search the seed pods for some sort of prototype. I don't know what it is. They didn't give me any kind of more details than that, but I'm supposed to discreetly kind of search for this thing and then study it.
I thought you were part of our diplomatic envoy.
I am. It's that's the primary directive, and this is just kind of like a secondary sort of co-op, or not co-op, the secret mission.
I don't have a secret mission, and I look at Rex and I say, do you have a secret mission?
No.
I look at Bryn. Do you have a secret mission?
No.
And I turn, whip on my heels, and pull my finger up to CNAC 88, and I say, do you have a secret mission?
I do not, respectfully. And he takes 2 steps back and says, I have a small amount of control over what of my short-term memory is recorded. I'm going to delete this most recent part, but I can tell you that all of the communications I've witnessed thus far have been recorded. I feel that in the effort of transparency the professor is making, that I will disregard this conversation and go and wait out the company to retrieve me in the saloon.
Okay. If that is your decision, CNAC, then I shall respect it.
Good
I
luck.
shall miss you.
But as
Good
long
choice.
as you're making that decision, in no way influenced by how gracious or otherwise we have been to you as a friend.
He turns and looks at you, Tag, and says, Tag, if that is what you need me to say out loud, I will oblige.
No, you've ruined it. Just go.
He leaves and he heads back into the saloon.
I turn to the group and I
right.
say,
Okay.
good riddance. He loved to guilt you, just guilt you.
I didn't know if that was part of his programming. Okay. Well, anyway, I just want to get that out in the open because it's been really bothering me since I was told it. It's not something I feel comfortable doing. As you all know, this is my first time of going even off planet or even doing anything like this. I'm usually in the lab. So anyway, now you know. And now we can perhaps look for this together. I don't even know what I'm really looking for.
You're supposed to steal something?
No, I'm supposed to study something. A prototype. that you
In the
apparently-
facility.
By
Facility.
stealing it.
That wasn't clear.
Are you supposed to report to somebody and have them give you this pod?
You know what? You know what I just told you? How vague it was? That's pretty much exactly what I was told. I was told to go to the Elder Seed Research and Development Facility and go to the place where the seed pods, and there's apparently some sort of prototype that is hidden there that I'm supposed to find and study. And that's pretty much all I know.
Well,
And,
we're not your co-conspirators, Doctor. Don't draft us into a secret mission because you couldn't figure out the vague instructions that you were given.
Oh, that was not my intention by telling you all. That's okay if you don't feel as though you
Why
want
would
to
this have to
participate.
be a shadow project? It's the company's R&D, right? I mean, why would they have you snooping on
Tag?
their own stuff?
I think that it's possible, that you may have a bit of an inflated positive sense of what the company is really interested in doing. I don't know all the dark corners of the company that we all kind of worked for, but I have a feeling that they have a lot of thumbs and a lot of dirty pies.
Oh.
I think we should go find Lingorium.
Yeah.
I think we need to figure out what's going on, why he's not dealing with it. This is his planet. This is his responsibility. Why? Like, what's going on? So let's
I
find
think-
him.
I think that's an excellent idea. That should be probably step one.
Sure.
Yeah,
So,
but you know, there's still, you know, she told us to stop by her house, so we should probably do that too.
And we will later on. Yeah. Water?
Tara did say that she frequently guides people to the Elder Seed facility.
Rex, do you want to go get Tara for us? I'm going to try to find different clothes. I look terrible.
There's a general store in town.
Awesome.
So we got Rex going to Tara's house. We got Bryn going to the general store.
Before I leave, though, I pull the doctor in close, and my breath is absolutely horrid. It's wretched. And I just say, I still don't trust you.
Okay.
Tag, Professor, where would you like to go? Or what would you like to do?
I noticed that Rex is a bit inebriated, and so I am going to walk in the general direction that she's going without necessarily impeding her way, nor, seeming like I'm following her, just trying to be nonchalantly just kind of like going in her direction to get Tara too.
Okay. And Tag?
I'll stick with my my eminence.
Okay. We're going to have you guys all cross into the town square. The dirt road leads into a town square. It is cobbled. On the outskirts to the east of this town square, there are houses, smaller houses. They look like local residences. They're made out of local materials, wood, brick, clay. And then to the west, on the edge of the town square, there is the general store. And directly across from you, there is a large building that looks like it was imported by the company, and it would be what you would take to be the residence hall of the workers. It's the tallest building in town, but it's only 2 or 3 stories, 3 stories tall, and it looks like a dormitory, a barracks. A path leads off to Tara's house, and then there is another path which leads through the houses to the science facility. But when you get into the center of town, there's just a few people. They give you the eye, then they turn and they kind of cold shoulder you. They don't really want to interact with you. You're becoming aware that you look at their garb, you look at yours. It is very clear that you're outsiders. There is a large well in the center of town that looks functional. And that's in the middle of town square. So is there anything you want to do in the town square, or do you want to get into our split scenes of Tara's house general store?
I'll walk over to the town well, and I assume there's like a bucket that I can just drop down in there.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get a drink of water.
Sure. Roll.
But I kind of just like plop it in there.
Sure. Roll read a bad situation. You're going to have a -1 because you're drunk.
Okay. But that's plus what?
Sharp.
Sharp. All right. That is a 9.
Cool. You get to hold 1 question.
All right. Are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
You get the bucket all the way down, and then you pull it all the way back up, and you are very thirsty. And you are about to take a huge drink of this water when this smell comes over you. And it is the smell that you have smelt now on planet, but also the one that you smelt as a youngster when your colony was destroyed. It is that strange smell that accompanies the weird goo that was dripping off of the tick. Kind of like an ozone. It's like this very strange but powerful smell. You smell that and you look down into the water. You can see a sheen of that floating over the top like oil. And the bucket seems to be kind of scratched up, chewed up a little bit on the edges. You have not drank out of this yet. The danger that you have not noticed was that it might not be a good idea, depending on what this stuff does. But that's what you notice.
That water doesn't seem too potable.
Professor, roll investigate a mystery.
All right.
Plus sharp.
Plus sharp. 8.
Okay, you get a hold 1.
I get a whole 1.
Hold on, you could ask me one of those questions off to the
Gotcha.
Investigate a Mystery list.
Looking for it right now. Investigating a mystery. Oh, there it is. What can it do?
It's an interesting question because I'm not going to address the basics of the well function or the goo, but more about what the well represents. You see that there's residue of that shimmering black fluid in the grout of these yellow bricks which make up the well.
Mm-hmm.
And there also seems to be evidence of something with claws that might have exited this. Something larger than any of the things you've seen on this planet so far. And in the dirt around the well, there is a path of something that might have been slid towards the well. And there's a piece of red fabric kind of caught. So what can it do? It looks like it might be an entrance or an exit of some kind.
Oh, okay. Well, judging by all this weird, funky business and the fact that she pulled up a pail full of scummy, gunky water, I'm going to see what I have in my bag of tricks to kind of like, make a sign of like, don't drink, stay away, and wrap around like that.
Okay, Professor's going to start making that sign. Bryn, Tag, would you like to go to the general store or hang out with the Professor?
I'm purely following the summoner.
He looks like he's got the well covered, so I'll go to the general store.
And then Rex, you heading on to Taurus?
So it looks like there's been some kind of creature that has maybe entered or escaped.
Come in or out of the well and potentially dragged something back down when it went back in.
As queasy as I feel duty bound to investigate it further.
Okay. Let's do Bren and Tag first. So Professor's starting to do some stuff, and Rex is starting to look around the well. The general store is another local building. It's a little ramshackle. It is bigger than some of the others. It's definitely bigger than the houses. You can see that there is a living quarters up top, like a studio type building that's been an addition to the roof of this, where maybe the proprietor lives. But you enter, and there is a dude inside. There's just like sparse stuff. It looks like locally made things and some food and some rations, as well as some basics that would be covered by the company. Like antiseptic, Band-Aids, that kind of stuff. Rope, cabling, a couple of electronics. What you would know would be like the equivalent of fixing a fuse on a radio or a couple wires, like a spool of wire, nothing insane. And then there's a fellow behind the counter. He's got long gray hair, bandana tied around his head. He's wearing a tank top. And he says, "Hey, whoa, welcome outsiders. Hey,
What gave us away?
everything. Look at you. Been walking through the jungle, huh? You're soaking wet. Sell
Yeah.
towels. 3 credits.
Do you sell clothes?
We do, yeah, handmade." And he points you to this rack and back, and there's some very light fabric dresses and trousers and blouses and tunics. They're all the same color. It's kind of like a very, very, very pale khaki, but it's very light fabric. He says those are woven from the fronds of most of those plants that you can see at the edge of town there. Everybody's got, well, they're light. It's nice in the heat.
They look lovely. Thank you. And I walk over to the clothes, and I look at Tag, and I start holding up stuff to him, finding one that'll fit. And then I hand him a blouse and some pants and a tunic. And you say, "Here you go." And then, is there a room we could try this on, or is this just a estimate and buy? Like,
Oh, I guess you could step out back if you really wanted to, but we don't have a changing room.
okay. And I go grab a towel and I give it to Tag and I'm like, can you like hold this up so I can change behind the towel?
Sure. And he holds up the towel because he wants to do a good job. This is his duty, and he averts his eyes.
I grab pants and a blouse because I am not going to wear a dress through any of this. And find what fits, and I put it on, and I take my wet, dirty, well, it's not really dirty, it's wet, needing to be washed dress, and I roll it up. And then I say, can I have the towel, please?
Of course. I hand her the towel.
And I wrap the dress in the towel, and then I shove it into my bag. And I say thanks. And then
Oh, to me? You're welcome.
Yes.
Sorry,
And,
I thought you were the shopkeeper. Of course, yes, of course. Anything.
And then I grab a towel, and I hold it up for him. And I say, all right, you can get changed.
Thank you. I'm fine. I'll wear this. It'll dry on my body.
Yeah. You ever been to a humid place before, my dude?
No, I haven't, my dude.
That ain't gonna dry.
Okay. And so I somewhat self-consciously start to kind of unbutton the tunic that I'm currently wearing, and I take it off, and I don't know if she catches a peek of this, but it does. There is a glimmer to it. There's that scar that kind of goes all the way down my whole arm, up my fingertip. I'm sure she's caught it outside of my, my hand is obviously exposed, but it continues all the way down the underside of my arm, down my armpit, down the side of my body. And that scar still has this faint, it's almost like a little vein carrying glitter. There's just a bit of a purple sparkle behind the scar, almost looking like it's wiring, or there's something electronic about it. There's something shimmering there, and I am a little self-conscious about it. So I sort of but I look up at the summoner to see if she's noticed, and I try to, as quickly as possible, put on one of those light khaki tunics over mine and button back up and compose myself. I'm all done.
Okay. And then I hand him the towel. Do you want to wrap your other stuff in?
So I'll wrap my stuff in. I'm just keeping my eyes on her to see. She's not giving any indication that she noticed anything, so I don't say a word, and I put the towel with my clothes into my satchel.
I do grab onto my necklace because it's got a weird... It's slightly changed color, which was weird. It's never done that before.
Will you describe the necklace to us?
Yeah, the necklace is a necklace that was given to me by my mother. Our palace, right before I was born, was destroyed in a magical sort of warfare that happened, and there was only one shard left, very small, of the building, and my mom had it encompassed in jade and put it into a necklace and gave it to me. So it's jade with the fragment of the building in the very center buried in there, and then it's wrapped in gold sort of braided encasement that goes around it. Two of them, one from my mother and one from my father, and then it's just on a simple chain.
The color that it turned is a red, and it's pulsing a little bit. And as you approach the counter to pay, you are extremely wealthy. You're from a royal family, so there's talk of money, but you are able to cover it no problem. As you approach the counter, it actually starts to fade in and out, and a little bit faster, as though it's kind of reacting to something. And you can feel, not hear, a bit of a hum. It's kind of buzzing on your chest. And so the guy, he says, "Yeah, hey, my name's you can just call me Mr. Doherty, and this is my shop. I appreciate you coming through. Business has been a little slow."
Yeah, that's what we heard at the saloon. Did you notice anything strange going on around here?
Yeah. Yeah, a couple things came out of the trees a little while ago, and they took some people.
They took people?
They took people. They took one of the bank tellers, Marcia, and I think some of the livestock's gone missing lately.
Where did they
Yeah.
go? What direction did they go with the people? Did you see it happen, or are these people just missing and you think it's these creatures?
Well, we saw some of the creatures come out of the trees, and they didn't get anybody. But then recently, these people went missing. They came out of the trees about a week ago, right? But then just 3 or 4 days ago, these people went missing. Now, we chased them off the first time. The second time, we didn't see anything, but I think, and people call me crazy for more reasons than this, but I think that those things got them.
A week ago, and I look at Tag and I say, I was supposed to be sent here on some super easy peasy mission to talk to Langorium, and stuff's been going on this planet for a week and nobody briefed me on it.
He perks up when you say Langorium. He says, Summoner Langorium?
Yeah, that's who we're here to meet with.
No kidding.
Why? What's he like? What should I expect?
I don't know. It's just, I don't know where you're from, lady, but he runs this whole place, this whole planet. I never met anybody that's even met him.
So he's this person that rules this planet, yet he's inaccessible to the citizens that are here. Typical.
Well, I don't know about all that. He seems to be doing good work, but he doesn't come have tea with me.
Well, he's not doing that great of work if the creatures are still here and he's not addressing it. I'm gonna have words with this guy.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't mean to raise my voice. Thank you so much for the clothes. They are so lovely. I'll be sure to tell them they were designed by Doherty. Did you design them?
No, I bought them, though. There's
Oh.
a couple people in town. I can pass on your compliments.
Okay. Well, I'll tell everybody I find to shop here.
Hey, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, business has been slow, so I appreciate it.
Man, well, we're going to get to the bottom of it. I promise.
Okay.
As we're walking out, I turn to Bryn and I say, I noticed that you never tell people who you are, that you're the heir, the summoner to a summoner.
Yeah,
How come?
I don't want people to treat me differently. I don't. When I tell people, suddenly it's like a mask goes over them and they're on their best behavior, and I don't ever really get to know people for who they are. And so if I don't need to say who I am, then I don't.
Tag takes a moment. He doesn't say anything, but he already liked Bryn a lot, but his respect has just grown even more. He said, my experience was similar on the one hand, but very, very different on the other hand. When I don't tell anyone I'm a parallel, but you look at the uniform, it's quite obvious, and yeah, they lose interest. That's okay. I don't have it's not my job to make friends, but one day.
Well, I consider you my friend, and you look very dashing in your tunic, in your tan beige tunic.
I give a very small curtsy.
And I curtsy back.
As you're walking away from the counter, your necklace starts to slow down, and the red fades back to the color. It's a slow transition that it is normally.
I point it out. I say, what was happening with your necklace inside there?
I don't know. It's never. I don't know. It always stays the same when I'm on my home planet. So I don't know if it's because I'm off planet or if it's picking up something. I don't know. I don't know really anything about the necklace. My mom just gave it to me, and I thought it was a nice 16th birthday gift. And
can we try something? And he reaches for her hand almost instinctively before realizing that that's inappropriate, and pulls it back and says, and just sort of gestures to see if they can take a couple steps back towards the store.
Sure.
It picks back up. Woom, 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 woom.
What
We
is
do
it?
that, the sort of cartoon Lazzi of step out, step back, step back.
Should we follow it?
It was strongest when you were at the counter talking to Doherty.
I don't know if it's the building or the person, but it's communicating with me somehow.
It's sparked my interest and my curiosity. It's not why we're here. I don't want to get distracted, but it's also around your neck, and I want to guide and serve and protect you as much as I am able without being in your way. And I'm not saying that it's dangerous. I don't think it is, but it's curious.
Just we'll keep an eye on it, I guess, as we go forward. See if it changes again.
Okay. And he hesitates just a second before saying that. I think he's realized when she said no that he did have a lingering interest to investigate further in relation to the store and Doherty, but he defers without just a second of hesitation, and he says, of course.
Okay. We're going to leave you standing right outside the general store for the moment. We're going to come back to the well. Professor, you've constructed a sign that says don't drink the water. Would you tell me what it is?
Yeah, it's a sign. I found like some sort of spare plank somewhere or something, and I've kind of like found some rudimentary nails and tacked up to some posts and like beware of the water, do not drink.
Okay. The villagers around the colonists around here are kind of like watching you. Rex, what are you doing?
I've pulled out my big high-powered flashlight, and I'm shining it down to look inside the well.
Sure. It goes down pretty far, but those scuffs that you could see travel down the inside of the walls, the scratches. And you can't see the bottom. You can only get the impression that there is water at the bottom of it, but it goes down pretty far.
All right, well, I'm a little drunk, I announce. And I look around for a rock, and I find a pretty big heavy one, and I just throw it in the water.
It falls for a little bit, and then splash.
I listen really carefully to see if I can hear anything moving around in the water.
There does seem to be something down there, but you can't tell if it's the water that's now moving around or what it is. But it's pretty far down there, whatever it is.
There might or might not be something in this well.
I think you're onto something. I don't know exactly, but it seems as though there's some sort of scuffle of some kind, and this bit of fabric here. Did you notice this? It's
What?
kind of there's a bit of fabric that's right here.
I'm not deaf. I'm just a little drunk.
Got it. So yeah, if you notice, there's a bit of fabric that's like stuck to the rim here, as though it got snagged on as something was either exiting or entering. And a lot of these scuff marks look like they some of them come obviously from the inside, and they're scratch marks and everything. But if you notice, there's as though something was dragged to the well.
We should investigate.
Yes, I think we should. But why don't we continue on your plan, which was to contact Tara?
Throw stuff in the well?
Well, we did that already, so check mark on that. But maybe we can throw some more things in the well at a later time. Right now, I think the sign will probably keep people away until we have a little bit more information and we have their whole party. What do you think?
So we go to Tara's now?
Yes!
Ooh, are we near them? Or are we not near them?
You are near them. I mean, they're in the middle of the town square. You're on the western edge of it.
Okay. I'm going to say, wait! and I'm going to grab, I see a weed over in the grass, and I remember reading that this weed can help you if you're intoxicated or poisoned. And so I'm like, I pick all the petals off of it and I smush it in my hands and I walk up to Rex and I'm like, open your mouth. Just do it. Please just do it. I'm doing you a favor.
What are you
Trust
doing?
me. Open wide and I pinch your nose. Shove the weeds in her mouth and I'm like, no, chew it and swallow it.
It's very bitter, but it's not the worst thing you've ever had to endure.
It cures poisons. I'm pretty sure alcohol is poison. You want to be your best foot forward when you see Tara. So, Tara. I'm so bad with names.
We should ask her about that. I'm confused.
About what?
It's Tara.
It's Tara? You're sure?
Okay.
100% sure.
Okay.
And you're starting to feel clearer already, Rex.
That
Okay.
was disgusting, but thank you.
You're welcome.
The party is there. We have Tara's house kind of on the outskirts of the village. And is everybody going or just Rex?
I'm going.
Mm.
I'm not going to go inside. I'm just going to stand on the outside of the house, like outside the picket fence.
Sure. As you guys are kind of discussing this, you notice on the housing complex, the barracks, there's this greasy-looking fellow, this bald guy, and he's like vaping out on the porch, just watching you. Everybody else seems to be trying very hard to ignore you, especially when you were nailing things to their well. This guy's just watching you. He has a sour expression on his face. He's just watching you. So, Professor's going to be going and standing outside the picket fence. Rex is heading over to Tara. Bryn, tag?
I'll just hang back and wait. I want to give her some space. I might just kind of investigate the area to see if I can see anything that's out of place.
Sure. All right. We're going to do Rex first. So you guys cross this little path. It looks like perhaps over many years, somebody or several somebodies spent time to go ahead and just put in cobblestones and make a path themselves that leads out of town. The colony is very small, so out of town isn't very far from you. It's less than 100 yards from the well. You go down this path, and there is actually a little picket fence around a cottage that looks very quaint, built with the same materials that the rest of the local establishments have been built with, but this one seems to have a little bit more love and a little bit more upkeep. There's a lot of gardens outside, just like raised bed gardens and a lot of overgrowing vegetables. And there is a little stream that comes out of the tree line, and the cobblestone path kind of culminates in this little bridge that goes over this little stream, and Tara's house is right there.
Seems
Hi.
very quaint.
Yeah, just take a moment to kind of take the scene in, and this looks really nice. This looks like someone has made themselves a home.
Sure. So Tara's gonna show us where we can find the summoner. Is that right?
Also, weren't they saying something? I'm sorry, I was a little drunk, so it wasn't quite clear, but somebody got dragged into something, I think you were saying?
It appeared as though that there were dragging marks going to the well, and there seemed to be some measure of ingress and egress getting out with some sort of creature that apparently has claws. I saw scratch marks. I thought you were watching it too.
Yeah. Totally remember all of that very clearly in my mind.
Do you want me to come with you, or do you want me to I can hang back here? Or
whatever.
Oh, no, I'll just come in. I'll just come with you. That's fine.
I kind of, if he's still within earshot, reach out to the professor as slyly as I can. I think even I have tapped into a bit of what's going on here, and I just kind of try out this new thing I've learned today, which is the wink. I give him one and a nod and kind of give him the, why don't you hang back with us?
Oh, okay. Professor's very excited. He's part of a club that winks at each other.
You start walking back.
Professor.
I know. That's why. It caught on.
Professor clears frame, but the camera follows Rex as she crosses the little bridge and goes and knocks on the door. Tara answers. She looks, she's refreshed. She's wearing a different set of clothes, and her hair is up in a towel that's made out of that same fabric that you've now seen the summoner and Tag wearing. And she says, "Hey, welcome back. Come on in."
Hey, you look clean.
Thank you. I feel much better. I was out for a while this time. I try not to stay so many nights out, but it was
I get pretty stinky when I'm out there too. Yeah.
What can I do for you?
So it seems like maybe, well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Seems like maybe there's a monster in your well. Do you know anything about that?
What? No.
Yeah. We found some evidence that something may have been dragged into the well, and we were talking to some folks in town, and they said that people have been disappearing, and that something appeared from the trees and dragged people off.
Well, yeah, something appeared from the trees, and we managed to keep it at bay. I went out into the forest to try and hunt the rest of them down. That's the creatures that attacked you at the river. And
Yeah, they said they came back.
it must have happened while I was away. Damn. She turns around and looks at the wall, and now you see behind her on these racks, there's just like these beautifully handcrafted bladed weapons. There's a glaive that's made, the haft of which is made from some local tree, and the blade is very ornate and just hand pounded. And there's like double swords that you can tell are meant to be wielded as a pair crossed, 2 axes kind of flanking that, and then this big, huge mace that reminds you of Graflex, only it's more of like a baseball bat size, where yours, I feel, is much larger. And she looks at it and says, shit. And she reaches up and grabs the glaive. And
I have totally 100% forgotten about any dangers that currently exist, and I am just looking at these weapons in abject awe. And I'm just going like, and I know I'm not supposed to touch other people's weapons, but my hand is just kind of like of instinct starting to reach for one of them.
She just catches your eye and nods.
I pick up the 2, what was it, like little swords?
Yeah.
And I start just twirling them, like trying to be really cool and show off.
Sure. She is very impressed. It's obvious that you know what you're doing. And she says, if there is something in the well, I think we should check it out. And you're welcome to bring those swords with you if you'd like.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, we should do that. Yes, let's do that now.
Okay. She leads you back out. And you start heading that way. Professor, on your way back, before Rex and Tara leave the house, you can see behind that housing, the barracks, there is this what looks like a pit in the ground, a construction, the midst of some structure, the foundation of which is just being dug. Nothing has been raised there yet. But it looks to be about a mirror size of the barracks, as though they were going to build a second version of that. There's some machinery down in there. Across it, you can see that circular metal building that looks like neither a local building or a company asset. It looks like a different thing altogether. It's covered in satellite dishes. Rex and Tara walk out of the building behind you. While all that was happening, what were you doing, Bryn? You said that you wanted to just poke around.
I just wanted to investigate to see if I could pick up on anything that's odd around in the surrounding area.
Sure. Roll investigate a mystery.
Okay. What do I add for that one?
Plus sharp.
8.
All right, you get to hold one question and ask me from that list.
Okay. Hold on, I'll pull up the list. what is being concealed here?
You can see that place where the professor pointed out where it looked like something had been drugged through the dirt. There's just some dirt that's accumulated in patches in the town square. It looks like the place is pretty well taken care of. The scuff marks, however, are not in the dirt. They seem to have cut right into these yellow bricks, as though something heavy and with very strong, sharp edges was the thing scrabbling across. And you kind of follow that. You're able to pick a path, and it leads over to where all of those locals' houses were. And as you get there, you realize that there isn't anybody home in most of these places. It's just a bunch of shuttered homes. And the scuffs, you lose track, but it seems as though they were heading around the back of something. And as you kind of go back there, you can peek around and you see that one of the fences around that side of the property has been... It's as though something was crawling over it and it has started to sag and fall over.
Okay. So it looks like people left. It's not something came in and killed them. It looks like people deliberately left.
It looks like the houses are empty and the path of the thing that came out of the well led this way.
Okay.
Okay, you guys are all back in the square. As Bryn was following these tracks, that guy who was on the porch vaping has just kind of moseyed in the same direction along this long porch that circles the barracks. You can tell it's kind of like a communal place. In a hot place, people can go out in this shaded area, sit down on a long wraparound porch. He's just kind of following and watching what Bryn is doing. Tara and Rex return. They are carrying some really sweet weapons. Tara has a glaive. Bryn is carrying 2 swords.
Rex.
Rex is carrying 2 swords. I apologize.
Sweet.
I keep my eye on this vaping fella, so he's following Bryn with his eyes.
Yeah, and he's actually walking too, to make sure that he can see what she's doing.
Okay, and where am I in relation to the two of them?
Wherever you want to be.
Oh, all right. I'd like to start walking in his direction, not as if to confront him, but as if to just kind of to see if he's going to back off. If I just stand a little closer, kind of look at him as if I've obviously clocked his presence and his at this point following us.
When he catches on to that, he actually approaches the banister and hawks a pretty nasty loogie and spits it into the dirt and says, "What are you looking at, shrimp?"
Me? What are you looking at?
What are you guys doing here? Outsiders poking around? Where you come from?
We come off planet. I think your tone is unnecessarily hostile for what this engagement is, which is friendly at the best and not threatening at the worst.
Wow. Where are you from?
We're from off planet. Who are you?
Give me a second.
Chad.
Give me a second.
The name's Tyler.
Nayland. Junge. I run the housing for the company. I'm kind of a big deal around here.
I don't want this to be disrespectful, but which is your first name and which is your last name?
Nayland is my first name. Junge is my last name.
Okay. Mr. Gunge.
Junge. It's a
Mr.
soft G.
Junge?
Say what you're gonna say, shrimp.
You do housing for the company. We work for the company as well. We've been enlisted to come to the planet and have a look at some things. We don't have any malice about us. We're just taking a peek around. It seems like your colony, your town, has been under some eerie circumstances recently.
Yeah? You here to fix them? What are you,
Why
problem
does
solver?
everyone
He says
keep
this.
asking us that. Does no one in this town take initiative?
He asks.
Yes,
he
it would be great
asks-
if.
Sorry, he asks over Tad, like looking past Tad towards Rex, and he says, "She's a problem solver, yeah?
Yeah? What's it to you?
The company must have sent you to fix what's going on, right? That's what they usually do."
I'm here to keep an eye on this one. And I gestured towards Bryn.
Who's she?
Nobody you
friend.
need to worry about. What's it to you?
I kind of keep an eye on this place for the company, okay? I'm their liaison to Homestead. I've been put here specifically to watch after their interests in town. I don't like people coming in here unannounced, not checking in with the liaison, poking around, looking around.
Sir, am I good to get this straight that you have no knowledge of our coming here?
No?
Well, I guess I suppose that it's probably above your pay grade then.
Oh!
He smiles, actually. Kind of leans into one of the railings and he says, "Who's this?"
My name is Dr. Basher Broddick, and I'm at your service, sir.
You coming here to work at the facility?
You betcha.
What do you do, Doc?
Oh, all kinds of stuff. Was it Gunge? Was it?
Nailing?
Jugunj.
Oh, it's Jugunge. Nayland Jugunge. Pleased to meet you, sir.
Yeah. Well, I imagine that you're going to be living in this place then, yeah, that we're building? People like you coming from off planet to work in the facility? We got a couple empty rooms right now, obviously. They haven't come back from the shift change. Nobody's answering the phone.
And
Oh,
as
that's
the
right.
liaison of the company, you're not worried at all about that?
If it was something important, somebody would have reached out to me, I'm sure.
Oh, like they told you we were coming.
Must not have been that important.
How often do you get calls from up at Homestead? How often do they call in to relay this stuff to you?
All the time, I'd say last time, month or two ago.
Oh, that's the frequency of your communication? Once every couple of months?
Yeah, why?
No, not at all. I didn't know. I thought you kind of gave me the impression that you were in daily contact.
Well, I'm busy, and they're busy too. We don't have time to just call each other and say, the beds are made,
No, that's fine. I'm not telling you how to do. I was just going to ask. It does seem like there have been things happening recently. I didn't know if you had consistent communication that was disrupted. But if you only talk every couple months, I guess you wouldn't really know what's going on.
I called them a couple times this morning, and after the power went out,
Just to tell them the beds were made, or?
to ask about the power.
And what did you hear?
Nobody answered.
Right. Well, that would corroborate the idea that there's something wrong.
And you're welcome.
Suppose it would. Yeah.
I think that, and I apologize, I think that I've taken an unnecessarily standoffish approach. I don't think that we're enemies here. We're trying to figure out what's going on. We were not hired to solve this exactly, but if we can, we're certainly interested.
Tara and that woman, they've got weapons.
Yes?
Tara, what are you doing over there? And she just says, Nayland, shut up. Nobody asked you anything. Just go back inside. And he blows out vapor and says, I don't like any of this, and I'm going to go inside right now and make another call
Good.
right now.
You do that.
And he turns on his heel and he goes back into the barracks.
Swell fella. Anyway, Tara, so I think we're going to look over at this well, is that right?
Yeah, sure. I think that we should. She's brought her climbing gear and is kind of hooking up the same type of rig you guys use to climb up the cliff face around the crossbeam above the well.
Oh my. I feel like I need to point out to you, Tara, that I think that the water down there is possibly tainted with the same sort of unmentionable certain stuff that, like, has the nightmare tick and the nightmare crab was suffused with.
Okay.
So I just please be careful. I mean, I know that obviously you know a lot about this than I do, but I just wanted to give you that warning.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Sure.
She hooks up. She's wearing a harness, and she climbs up onto the lip of the well, and she says, "I'm going to go down and take a peek."
And I walk up and I say, "Be careful."
I will. Expertly, she starts to rappel down into the well. It's very steep, and by the time she gets down to the bottom, you can only see this little flashlight that she pulls out, kind of waving around. And she calls up, like, "I gotta unhook, the water is pretty deep. I'm just gonna try and keep my eyes closed and my mouth closed, but I think, that looks like there's some kind of outcropping here, some kind of ledge. I think that there is some kind of bank."
As this is happening, I'm starting to get this sinking feeling. It's a feeling I've had a couple times before, where it's almost like a tingling, moving up my extremities towards my core and my chest, as if something's wrong. I'd like to read a bad situation.
Sure, roll it.
Five.
Okay. It seems like she's down in a well, and she's a professional, so you start to think maybe the feeling is just because you felt off center since this little part of the mission has began. Maybe that's playing with your... Okay. She moves away from... You can see that the line goes slack as she unhooks, and you hear her kind of splashing through the water and moves away.
I'm
Malin
anxiously
has
leaning
since-
over with my flashlight, just trying to see if I can still see her or anything down there, even though I know I can't.
Sure. Naylan has since kind of like moseyed back onto the porch. He's not said anything. He's just vaping again, watching you guys. What do you guys want to do?
Well, I want to see what's going on down there. I don't know if I was trying to think of, like, I have the camera that's off the shoulder cannon situation, but I don't think I have anything that I can, like, snake down there. Do I?
You tell me.
There's
yes,
rope
I do.
in your pack.
Oh, there's stuff. I do stuff. I have things. So I'm gonna use one of my class moves, I think. Weird science.
Oh, you just want to? What exactly do you want to do?
I just basically
Narratively?
I want to be able to see down there. She mentioned some sort of outcropping, like, because right now our visibility is like a dark hole that she just left,
Right.
and like we see nothing but maybe like disturbed water. I want to somehow get down there and be able to, like, look around.
Your shoulder mount has a camera, yeah?
Yes.
Does it relay the feed to you in real time, or do you have to, like, capture an image and then watch it again?
Both. It can do either.
Okay, I think that you've already said most of your, like, advanced stuff is wireless. I think that you could take the little globe off of the top of it and attach it to a rope and lower it down. I don't think it requires a weird science roll.
Awesome. That's what I do then.
All right, so you feed it down. Does it have different view modes? Like, does it have night vision? Does it have anything like that?
Please. Yes, it does. It has
Okay.
heat vision. It has night vision.
Okay, so when it gets down there, regular mode, you can't see anything except a little bit of a shine of Tara's. How are you viewing this, by the way?
There's a display that I pull out.
Oh, so everybody can crowd around and see?
Yeah, it's
so-
it's big. It's bigger than this. It's about as big as a tablet.
Okay, so you pull that out and everybody crowds around. In the current vision mode, the regular vision mode, you can only see darkness with a little bit of a flashlight playing every once in a while.
Mhm.
Which mode would you like to switch it?
I'm gonna do night vision first.
Okay. You flip it to night vision and it the screen kind of whites out for a second and then fades in, and you can see that strange green glowy world of night vision. And you see Tara kind of peeking around, and she turns around and sees what must be some kind of light or something, and she says, "What is that?"
Yeah.
Does it have a little microphone on it, or is she yelling up to the?
No, I didn't think of that. But like that's what I'm gonna put on it later. I just kind of holler down the thing like, it's just me. It's just a little device so I can see what you're doing. No worries.
Sorry, we should have done this first.
Yeah, totally
She's
should have done that first.
You see that she's like walking towards, kind of cocking her head to hear you, and she says, that's okay. And then as she kind of moves forward and to the right a little bit in your screen, you can see at the edges of what the night vision picks up, there was some rocks that it does look kind of like an outcropping that she must have been heading towards, and then they shift. And she's still walking towards the camera, and she says, "That's cute. Yeah, that's pretty effective. I wish I had one of those from the bush." She's yelling. You can barely hear her.
Sure. That the rocky outcropping began to shift.
Yes.
So I'm looking at that on the display. Is that over her right shoulder or her left?
It would be over her left shoulder.
Okay. Don't turn around too fast, but Tara, I think there might be something over your left shoulder. Don't know what that is. Something's moving back there.
She turns around. You know, she's a pro. She's not going to fuck around. She
Sure.
turns around and slowly brings the beam up. And you can see the outline of... It just looks like this strange thing where there's... Is it stalactites or mites that are on the bottom?
Mites are on the bottom.
Stalagmites that are kind of poking up, and some stalactites from the top that are poking down. And it's creating this... zebra-like effect where the night vision is having trouble seeing through it, and you can tell that they're on different planes. And within it, it looks like there are several other shorter spikes that are moving. She's approaching it very slowly, and then she stops.
Do you want me to put some light down there? I mean, I have a light spell.
She turns towards the camera and does this. She puts her finger up in front, but also nods yes.
Okay, so I pull out Aramid, and I...
Will you describe to us your staff? I don't think we've taken just a second. It's such a cool item. You pull out the staff. I just want you to tell us what it looks like.
Yeah. So I pull out Aramid. It's made of birch. And it is also inlaid with titanium. It's wrapped around it, and then it comes to a crest at the top, and comes into almost like a diamond, but the sides are softened, so it's not sharp. And in the middle of it, it holds a hardened lava from my planet.
Mm-hmm.
And the color of the lava, it's cool because it constantly is swirling. It looks like it's moving constantly, even though if you touch it, it's cool to the touch. And it's about, how tall is it? It's like, it comes about up to my chin.
Okay. There are other crystal stones on it that are clear.
Yeah.
There are 6 of them, or 7. I think 6, but there are clear stones on them. Okay, so you pull out your staff, and Tara's looking into the camera, expectantly. And you want to do a light spell?
Yeah.
Let's use magic. Roll plus weird.
9.
Excellent. Your effect, I think, is going to be to do one thing that is beyond human limitations, to just create light in a place where there is none. In the backstory that you sent me, you're not creating light, right? You're finding it somewhere else and moving it?
Yep.
Okay. You just need to choose one glitch from the bottom of the list, but then I'm going to let you tell me what the spell does, and I will tell you how the glitch affects it.
Okay, so glitch is under use magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There's an effects section, and then under that, glitches.
The effect is of short duration.
Okay, just take me up until the moment that you cast. I personally like to hear when you discuss what it feels like to cast magic and what it might look like. And then the moment the spell goes off, I'll take over and tell you what you see.
Okay. I'm looking around at the light sources. I mean, there's is there a sun on this planet?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the light from the continuum. It's the sun at the center of the system that is theorized, the doctor would tell you, to be made of all of the elements and condensed into this ball of like raw magical energy.
Okay, so I don't want to pull from that because that'll obliterate everything. So I am going to look around the general area, the town square, and see if I can find any kind of light source. And I see a lantern hanging from one of the cottages that's actually still on. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to aim my staff at that. Mm-hmm. And as I do, it creates kind of like a link, almost like a chain link to the light. And I just sort of give it permission to move. It's weird. It's like a command. It's like I need you, let's move. And then it pulls the light into the staff, and the staff lights up. Not too much because it's not a huge source of power. And then as I'm holding it there, I aim the staff down into the wall.
Okay. You see on the screen this, you see from up top first this jewel of light drip out of the staff like water and drop down into the well. And on the screen, you see it enter frame and stop above the water that's down there. And it's just kind of floating in the way that Bryn was able to move that water flower a couple episodes back. It just is floating there. And she says something under her breath, and that drip blossoms. And for just a split second before that light completely phases out your night vision and whites the screen, you see something in those stalactites lurching forward into the now bright cavern. Your screen whites out, and you hear Tara scream from down at the bottom of the well. Then you see the rope jerk, and she says, "Pull me up! Pull me up!" And you can hear this thrashing in the water as she's trying to get this harness around herself. And as your thing comes back on, your screen comes back on, and the camera adjusts, it's now dark back down there again, and you can see in the night vision. The thrashing that she's done is jostled the rope that your camera was on, and it's swinging. And so it's a little disorienting to see. And as the camera spins, you just see these thrashing shapes moving in the water. There's something in the water with Tara. It's much larger than her. You still have a hard time delineating it from the rocks and stuff, the shapes that are down there. It's all happening very fast. There's water that's being splashed up onto the lens. And the rope right up by you guys is thrashing, and she's screaming, "Pull me up! Pull me up!"
Help out
right
immediately.
Looking down there, you can see that she's, like you see an arm holding it and kind of go out of frame and then back, and she's trying as hard as she can to pull back up this rope.
I help pull the rope, like help out. Can I roll that?
Yeah. What are you guys gonna do? Tell me what you do.
I point to them and say, like, pull her up, as I start putting on my own harness gear, because I'm already anticipating that I'm gonna have to go down there.
Okay. Rex is gearing up. Professor, you grab the rope?
Grab the rope, absolutely.
All right. And this is gonna be, and yes, sir.
Is this like a loose rope, or is this like on a winch that is connected to the top of the well or something like that going down?
It's tied in this double way so that she was able to solo rappel down by using like her own weight and kind of this thing in her harness. But it is now a very taut rope because she is struggling and it's kind of jerking all over the place.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to grab the rope and start tugging, I guess.
Okay. This is going to be a straight tough roll.
Oh, okay.
Roll plus tough.
And
what are the others doing while he's grabbing this rope? Connor, you're on mute.
Thank you. I take a quick step back from the screen, shift my feet slightly, getting into a slightly broader stance, and reach my left hand down, palm open, pointing towards the ground, and close my eyes. And I want to try and I'm going to roll weird for psychic persuasion. I know that there is some sentient creature down there fucking with her. I've seen it on the screen, and it's clear what's happening, and I want to try to I'm going to roll, and then we'll see before I get excited about talking about it.
Hold on. We're just going to kind of cue all these moves, and then we're going to resolve them. I just want to know what everybody's doing so we can kind of build them into each other. Bryn, what are you doing?
Well, I was gonna suggest doing the psychic link with Tag to try to reach out and connect the exact same thing.
I think that you could activate the link, and you will be rolling help out.
Yes.
And Tag will be rolling plus weird. And Rex, you're just getting locked into this harness?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have you roll act under pressure, just because you're moving very fast, and what you need to be doing is very careful because it needs to hold your weight. So first, let's go with Professor. Roll plus tough.
I did. I got a 6.
Okay. Everybody who's failed to roll, make sure that you're tracking experience.
I have just failed to roll.
I have made a second secret mark on my sheet here. Okay, so Professor, you grab a hold of this and you start to pull it up, and you realize how difficult it's going to be. Just as the rope jerks again, it burns your hand as it yanks free, and you end up punching your hands into the brick and lose your grip on it. You're going to take 1 harm, armor defeating, as the rope hurts your hand. You're unable to get a grasp on it, but you're still fighting, kind of hanging over the well, fighting for this rope.
Okay.
Tag and Bryn, the connection pops between you. You still feel that weight on it. It has not gotten any stronger or any weaker. It is just a presence. Do your thing, Tag.
Am I getting a bonus from Bryn?
We're gonna.
Sorry.
What did you roll?
14.
Okay. Bryn, we're gonna. So here's the way that this works. Normally, help out can be rolled after the results are rolled, so you can decide whether or not you want to get in on the action. I think in this instance, your guys' instinct was to achieve the exact same thing, and you just piggybacked onto this connection, and I would say that you are going to roll help out regardless, even though he does not need it, to see if you're going to in any way alter the effects of his thing. And you guys are psychically linked.
Oh God. Okay.
So you're going to roll.
Plus
what is
what?
help? Help out is plus cool.
10.
Okay, cool. Tell me, it's the same way that we described the light spell. Tell me what the situation is, and then the moment the spell goes off, I will take over.
So I close my eyes and my palm is open and my focus is just going down there. I've been called to action, and that's where I'm directing all of my energy. And I certainly noticed that this link has popped open, and it's strange. We've been working together for such a short amount of time, but there's already something intuitive about it. And without taking my whole focus to Bryn, I'm able to just kind of... It feels like that I'm just being supported. We used this metaphor or this image earlier of feeling like you're in this throne of moss. It's stabilizing and it's structural, but there is something organic and soft about it. And as my one left hand is palm open towards the ground, my other hand kind of moves up, not as if I'm reaching for her hand, but just reaching a bit towards Bryn, an extension of wanting that energy. And we're standing maybe 5 feet apart on it's this sort of dirt road, I guess you'd call it, around the well. And so there's dust and there's that yellow orange grit and there's these little pebbles. And between us, you can see, if anyone's paying attention, almost as if there was a sinusoidal wave. These pebbles are just rumbling. The ground itself is there is a visible energy connecting us, and what I send down is not to the thing, because I don't know what it is, but it's to Tara, and it doesn't affect her. It doesn't heat her, but it's just this intense warmth, almost as if she is this burning ember to whatever is coming after her. She's a little sun down there. It's like trying to approach a fire.
Okay. You actually want the heat or the illusion of heat?
I think that in this magic, Tara will feel a little tingling warmth, but not. It's an illusion magnified in the consciousness of this creature.
Okay.
Essentially, I don't want her to be
immolated.
I'm not trying to set her on fire.
Sure. You, Bryn, feel because it's all happening very quickly, you feel this very quick intention where Tag is sending this heat down to Tara to protect her. And that is the extent of the psychic information you receive. Going off of that, how would you, with a 10 on your roll, how would you infuse this intention of Tag's?
I think I would amplify the heat and also make it burn bright white so that it also blinds anything that's down there.
Okay. You want to provide it with real heat.
I think
I'm not trying to trick you guys. I'm not trying to walk you towards blowing up Tara. I'm just trying to get more of a sense of.
Oh, I thought I could only magnify what he did. I can send my own thing through the link.
The way that I see it is
you got power.
Yeah, you're a summoner. So what you get in a split second is you get that Tag has the desire to send warmth and protection down to Tara. And so in this moment you get to decide how you would help him in that endeavor.
I want to create a barrier between her and it.
Made out of what?
Let's see. That actually is one of my spells.
We both want to say fire, and we're not doing it, but let's just encase this girl in some fucking flames.
Okay, this is an interesting moment, and I think that you both rolled so high that it's going to happen exactly the way that you want it to. But the moment that I want to address is that Bryn has never used fire magic before.
I don't, and it's chaotic for me, so I'm really hesitant to use.
Isn't your home planet fire-based?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was your jam.
But that doesn't give you I'm asking, I guess, just as a player interest more than character knowledge. Although I think Tag probably know this.
Fire magic is the most seductive, tempting magic for me, but I lose all control when I use it.
Oh, shit.
So you piqued my interest, and you just talked me into it. So I'm going to give in to this temptation, and I'm going to
light him up, baby.
Magnify his fire protection.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. You guys. Here's the thing. Here's the way that it works. There are times that there will be consequences from these actions, but on a roll like yours, you both had a full success on the roll. That tells me, as the storyteller, just as we're new to this game, that tells me as the storyteller, what I'm trying to do is I'm prodding you and I'm pulling these answers out of you because in this instance, you get to do whatever you want. And so I'm just trying to encourage you to flex. And in the times that you fail, that will be that freedom will be removed from you, or there will be worse consequences. But there's no trickery here. What you guys do is you feel Tag send out this request to you, Bryn, that says, I want to send warmth and protection down to Tara. And in that moment, you don't even have time to second guess yourself or analyze the trouble that you've had in the past with this element. That overflowing presence of bloom in this place, this wealth of power, You reach into the ground as well, but you're not broadcasting, you're siphoning, and you grab a hold of this insane blast of power, and you can feel it coming from the core of the planet, and it feels very familiar and very right, and it feels as though in this moment you step outside of yourself and align yourself with this element and wrap yourself in it so completely. And that seduction that you spoke of is this here. You are lost in this power, and you travel through Tag as this energy into the ground. And when you get there, you have a sense of this place, this darkness that you enter, and it is obliterated when you come down there. You vanquish every shadow in this well, and there is a moment when you feel yourself entwined with this fire element wrap around Tara. And Tag, having reached out to give the impulse of this warmth, you feel your power transforming, and this illusion is realized. Your thought of heat becomes a reality, and a shell encases Tara, and there is just a few seconds in when you and Bryn and this fire are a cyclone around her being. And then there's an explosion. And Professor and Rex, you're standing there. Rex, you're just kind of strapping into this harness. Professor, you're reaching for this rope and unable to do it. You feel this rumbling in the earth. Professor, roll act under pressure.
Oh. Get the fellow down. All right.
Yes?
Oh, it's plus cool. Oh, good. Oh, that's still 6.
6! Mark an experience, my dude. You are caught with this blast of hot air. You have less than a full second for the analytical part of your brain to go, that's interesting. I thought there was only water down there. And then a fireball blows out of the well. It knocks you backwards, singes your hair and your eyebrows. You take 1 point of armor defeating damage as you roll steaming through the courtyard. Rex, you're standing right next to this and just see a column of fire blast out of the well, shortly followed by an object which falls and lands on the ground next to the professor. It's steaming and charred. And then it's not a body; it's his camera.
Okay.
Just so we're cool.
Oh,
It's
no.
his
I love
camera.
that in your whole explanatory monologue, you were like, "Listen, I'm not trying to trick you. On a roll that successful, both of you, exactly what you want to happen happens." Singeing
but-
off the professor's eyebrows, blowing up his equipment.
It's still functional, probably. He's rolling up, and then you guys see the fire's gone. There's just smoke. And then the rope, which is singed but still in the well, jiggles a couple times, and you hear somebody start coughing. You guys gonna pull me up or what?
I run over to where the professor was and grab the rope and start pulling.
Okay. I think everybody probably joins you and is hauling up this rope. No roll necessary. Tara is now ascending this, and as she gets closer, you can see she looks as though her clothes and skin and hair are steaming, but she seems to be in perfect health, and even her clothes do not look damaged.
Let me add the note that as Tara gets closer and closer to the top of the well, I want to kind of take a step back from helping so as to make it seem like it was her rescue was really just in Rex's hands.
Okay. What does everybody else do in that moment?
I take a look at her steaming body and take a look at my own, although I'm not really feeling the pain, but not necessarily seeing any of the damage. And I'm just kind of looking at myself, and I'm looking at her. Samesies.
She's hauled out. It seems like she's heavier than just herself. when she gets to the top, she collapses into Rex's arms. Not necessarily as a hug, but kind of like falls into you and you catch her and she braces herself. She's like burning up. You know, like the heat on her is still intense. And the rope goes through her harness and down into the well, and she says, "Thank you, Rex. Thank you so much. I think I left my glaive down there." But she turns around and pulls the rope the rest of the way, and this large clay-colored exoskeleton, or half of one, comes up after her, and she dumps it in a pile on the bricks near the well. And you can see that it is much like the nightmare crab that you experienced before. It must have been much larger, but there's not much of it left. This one, on the other hand, has something that one did not, which is this long tail that seems to be armored as well and culminates in a large stinger.
Okay, you wasn't enough to give us nightmare ticks, and you gotta give us the scorpion version too, just to really make our skin crawl.
Yeah. Tara leans into Rex in a very casual way of just kind of bracing herself, but she says, "Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I that was so stupid of me to go down there. That was so stupid of me to go down there.
Stupid of us to ask."
Yeah, I definitely should have gone with you. You're really hot. Are you okay? I mean, like, you're very warm. I mean, you are also attractive. Your skin is very warm. Are you okay?
Pats your cheek so endearingly during this awkward mumbling, and she turns around and she says, "Yes, I am okay, and it is 100% because of you. I didn't know what I was going to find down there. I thought evidence of something. I didn't realize whatever it was would still be down there. And then I felt this presence inside of me, as though something was telling me to be still and that I was going to be okay, and then everything was on fire. Everything was on fire. The water down there has got to be 2 feet lower than it was before. It just vaporized. The entire cavern filled with flames. But I was okay. And whatever this thing was, and she kicks it a little bit, she says, it didn't like that at all."
I drift away from the group. I need to cool down.
I make eyes at the professor, not to get his attention, but to kind of see, is he about to do something unnatural to this carapace that has been brought up? I just want to, I'm not going to stop him, but I just, my first assumption in seeing decomposing or a gutted creature, that he's going to get excited by it and want to touch it or sniff it or poke it or whatever he does.
So the professor goes over and touches and sniffs and pokes the creature.
I knew it.
Roll investigative
That's
mystery.
enough, and I don't make a big show of it, but I turn, and as I turn, I see that Bryn has taken a step away, and I want to go to her, but I don't think this is the moment to put my nose in her business, so I'm going to squash that and be available and not far from her, but I'm going to let her have this moment.
I'm a bit oblivious to anybody perhaps worried that I'm going to do something, because like I just, a new thing, like opportunity to learn stuff, and like, so I go straight towards that, and my roll of investigate, is that right?
Yes, plus sharp.
Investigate a mystery. So that is 10.
Cool. You got to ask me 2 questions off of the investigate a mystery list.
Yeah, I do. All right. Okay. Oh man, none of these are helpful.
You can skew them into I don't want you to. The questions are very specifically worded. You can take the gist of the question and apply it to the situation. You can say like, "What can hurt it in regards to this?" You can clarify, and I will answer.
Okay. How about the first question being of what can hurt it? Like, we've noticed like a dead nightmare crab, a dead nightmare tick, and did the fire basically hurt? Did it seem like it hurt this creature more than those other two creatures?
Yes, and the thing is, both of those creatures were wounded when you met them. You could not tell what, because nobody investigated a mystery on them and asked. But you can see now that the wounds that they carried look very much like the wounds on this. This thing reacted very poorly to fire. It does not look like you would expect an insect who just got blasted. It looks like there was a chemical reaction, as though it was, going up like newspaper. And you fought these things. You hit them. You saw what they could do, and they had a very thick exoskeleton. But that exoskeleton seemed to be crisping up when it came into contact with these flames.
And Jesse, can I have you clarify that you're saying this creature, as well as the others, already had pre-existing injuries, but they were not fire-based injuries or fire-related injuries?
No, that you saw that when you first saw them, you didn't know what they were. But comparing it to what this thing is like now, you can tell that both the tick and the crab had injuries that look like they were fire-based. Now that you've seen it, yeah, they look like a very intense burn. Something more than usual.
My second question, unless someone else wants to go
for it,
is basically I kind of want to know the differences in this creature. I'm wanting to kind of look through the anatomy. Like, say, for instance, if there was a stomach, this is a half of the creature. So if there's, for instance, a stomach, I would like to see if there's things that I can recognize. Like, for instance, human bits or a cloth that is red or some sort of thing. And also the anatomy of the creature, whether or not maybe this is a higher caste than some of the other creatures that we've been seeing.
Sure. Definitely seems like a higher caste, or at least something that's more powerful. If size is power, this thing was bigger. It would be the size of like a horse, Like if that other thing was the size of a steer, like this is not the full creature, so it's not the extent of it, but you would get that would be the size. When you're poking around in its stomach, what's interesting is it seems to be, you would say that this is probably an herbivore. Because there is no meat in it. There is no remains of human or other animal that you can tell. It seems to be largely like moss, fungus, some grass. That being said, the red fabric that you found evidence of on the well, there is evidence of the red fabric that is caught in between the plates of its pinchers. Just like as if it was holding something, and as its armor closes and there are overlap in it, it would have ripped off in between and kind of got stuck the way that stuff gets stuck in your teeth. There is evidence of that red fabric as well, but it did not seem to eat whatever it was.
I describe what I figure out to the rest of the party and sort of extrapolate on that. Like, it's possible that whatever creature this is was not necessarily bringing one of these villagers down to eat it, or at least not eat it itself. It appears to be an herbivore, which is very interesting for such a hostile creature.
And I throw up my hands and I say, see, we were so convinced that those gators were trying to eat us, but now we see that this creature was an herbivore too.
Well, those gators were trying to eat us. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure, but I'll let you get eaten next time to prove a point.
All right. I guess that's it for as much as my extrapolation is.
Sure. We are going to be concluding soon for this session. And I think that we do have enough time before our brief farewell to, we're going to be leaving off here in the town square after this discovery, but if there's any final connections you would like to make before we put an end on this, either between the two of you or any investigating that you'd like to do.
Yeah. This whole time, I've just kind of been fixated on Tara, making sure she's okay. And she walks over to me, and I kind of just like brush some hair out of her face, and I say, "I'm really glad you're okay. I was really worried about you."
Thank you, Rex. I am really glad that I'm okay too.
Cool.
I'll just crack the window of the connection between Bryn and myself and say, looking away so it doesn't seem to the rest of the group like I'm communicating with her, and I'll say, "Hey, I see you're having a moment, and I won't bother you if you don't want me to, but I can imagine that what just happened was very intense, and I won't claim that I know everything that you're thinking or feeling, but please know that when and if you want to and are comfortable sharing, I'd love to listen."
Thanks. You are so much nicer than anybody I've ever encountered. And I'm from a nice planet. So that's saying a lot. I don't really know how to formulate what I'm feeling other than it felt good, and I feel bad about that. I'm not supposed to use fire. I could get in trouble for this. I don't know.
Good.
I was banned from using it because I never mastered it. I can't. Yeah. So I don't know if they know that I used it just now. And if so, I don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah. I'm glad it went okay.
Well, I'm speaking out of turn. I want you to have confidence in me, and I've mentioned this a little bit, but I have not gone through training. I have magic myself that I don't know how to use, that I've never been taught to control, that I don't myself understand, but everything that I do with magic comes from instinct and intuition. It's not from a book, or from a master, it's from a feeling. And when we connected and when that happened, there was, and this is such a silly word, but there was a nobility and a crisp intention and a purpose and a purity that I could feel in your magic. I don't know who or what said you're not allowed to use it or why, but I can tell you that it wasn't a bad thing. I felt that before. I didn't feel it this time.
That gives me a lot to think about.
Me too.
But thank you. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your support. And I couldn't have done that without you.
I shrug, forgetting that we're not looking at each other, having a face-to-face conversation.
There's this, your intention when opening this connection was to just crack the window, but through this conversation, unbeknownst to you, the connection strengthened and became completely locked in. And Bryn, over the course of this, I think that you were having this memory of a moment of when you were young. And as you're linked, Tag, you have the strangest experience because nothing was described like this to you throughout the course of the entire time that you were at the monastery, including your time working with Violet to create psychic links and research them and help her. There's this feeling of a memory that seeps through the connection to you. And Bryn, you're young. You're very young. You've only just started to feel what it feels to connect with the planet that you're on and the magic that your mother has used to take care of you and the people. You're standing in the throne room, but it is late at night, and the two of you are standing across from each other. You're both holding your staffs. Airmid, which is yours, it's the heir apparent staff, and she has the Ember staff, which is the summoner leader of the planet's staff. Hers has a very large red gem on it. She stands across from you and she says, "There's so much I want to tell you, and so much you're going to have to learn on your own. And before I tell you what I have to tell you, I'm just going to ask you to close your eyes and listen for the planet. It's been under you this entire time, and it's been calling to you. But nobody can hear it unless they want to, and that's for their own protection." Roll plus weird, Bryn.
9.
Okay, you feel the planet. You feel it for the first time, and you've done some small tricks. You've created light, you've multiplied water, you've done some small things, but you open up unsure of what it is you're doing because you've never reached out before. But when you do, and you direct your thought to the imagination vision that you have of this planet, the floodgates open, and the planet pours through you. And you scream, and you're lifted into the air. And this fire starts to pour out of your staff and snake through the throne room, and it catches the banisters on fire, and it catches the tapestries, and it scores the ground and cuts these things into the thing. And your mother says nothing. She raises her staff in front of her and slides back on the ground as a connection forms between you. But it's different from the one you and Tag share. This one is not through thought. It is through power. She is connecting to the conduit you've opened into the planet. And she lets out this mighty roar, and all of the fire in the room collapses into an orb at the center, and it is so much smaller than it should be. It's actually radiating heat that is starting to sunburn you. And with another roar, she absorbs that into her staff, and the gem on the top of her staff explodes. And she says, "We do not speak of the event which destroyed our temple and punished our people. But your grandmother saw fit to use this power to achieve things no leader should be interested in. And the power could not be contained for long enough. I ask you to not go looking for it again. Because if you find it, as it is looking for you, I fear it will consume you the way that it consumed my mother and her mother before her. I'm the first in a long line who has turned their back on the power of this planet. And if I could teach you one thing, it would be to follow in my footsteps, not theirs." And Tag, you see this as though in a dream, and then the connection fuzzes out and collapses. And you too have unknowingly turned and are now looking at each other. Blackout.
Wow.
Mosquito, mosquito.
Yeah.
Well done. All right.
I'm just making some notes.
Yeah.
Before
Thanks,
we
everybody.
sign off, I would just want to say thanks to everybody who joined us, and also donated. I haven't done the final calculations, but I think we ended up raising about $1,000,
Wow.
which is
Holy smokes.
crazy awesome. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Let me tack on to that to say we've, as you noticed, had some
technical hiccups tonight, and so I think there were a couple of donations that went unrecognized by us. The usual chime didn't go off. If that is the case, we'll try to give you the shout out that you deserve on the Discord or elsewhere. I'm sorry about that. We don't ever mean to not acknowledge when those come in, because we're grateful, and particularly on a night like tonight when we're raising money and try to build to something greater than this little show. And that
Hashtag tip if tag breaks
that
into
one.
song
I don't have
does that
chat
make
open,
him a
so somebody
coder.
else
I
let me
do.
If he
It
writes
was
after
Mark.
the end
Mark
of a
just
letter does
donated
that make him a
$25.
postscript.
Hey, thank
If he
you.
makes pasta does that make it
Thank you, Mark.
tagliatelle.
$100.
Yeah.
And that if something happens over the course of the week and you stumble into an extra $10, you can reach out to us on the Discord. This 3-to-1 matching donations is going to stay active, and if you want to kick a buck in, just let us know, and we'll make sure that we get that money to these organizations that are doing really necessary and tremendous work on the ground to try and deconstruct white supremacy as it exists institutionalized in our world today.
Sweet.
Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us for Void Jumpers every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. My name is Brian Lewis. Excuse me, Brian S. Lewis. You can find me at Brian to the Lewis on most of the things. Lisa, would you please remind us who you are and where you can find on the internet? Should you wish to be found?
I am Lisa Coronado. You can find me streaming on Twitch, horror games. Right now I'm streaming a game called Song of Horror, and there's been many screams and many deaths. I stream Monday through Friday from 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to about 4. And my handle is It's a Smalls World. Smalls is plural. And you can find me on Twitter at Lisa Coronado.
Connor?
My name is Connor. That's my info, I think, right down there. If you visit me online, I'll be trying to use this platform right now to amplify some other voices that I'm really excited about, that I think whose content I think you would enjoy and follow as well. So I'll just try to be a conduit passing you all onto that.
Hey, everybody. I think that means I'm next. I'm Trin Miller. The social media platform that I'm most commonly on is Twitter. And you can find me there at Trin Miller. And lately, and hopefully continue to be tweeting a lot about racial justice. So I hope that's something that you're all passionate about too.
And if you're not, get lost. Thanks to Mark Thomason for being our tech director, Aaron Buman for being our music man, and our awesome mod Paximo. Thank you very much.
Yeah! Thanks, everybody.
You can join Void Jumper Discord channel or look up past episodes on either the Zoe Twitch channel or YouTube. And please tune into Zombie Orpheus Entertainment Twitch channel for every weeknight for more live streaming on tabletop RPGs and the like. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. will be Zoe Game Night. Monday is Masters of the Metaverse at 6 p.m. And DG Game Night is at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. Catch you on the Continuum.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. We love telling this story. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.